Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Beauty Tarot by Kachu again with another video. I would like to thank each and every one of you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and donating to my channel. I really do appreciate all the love and all the support. And thank you for those of you who've been booking readings with me. It is truly appreciated, okay? So guys, your girl's Patreon channel is up and running. So if you would like to support your girl, you'll be able to find a link in the description box below. I do post 2 exclusive videos per week, so go check it out if you feel called to. Now, before we dive in, if you've been loving the energy here, I have created a collection of spiritual ebooks and printable workbooks to help you along your journey. From manifestation rituals to love journal prompts, these tools are designed to help you align, heal, and rise. You'll be able to find a link in the description box below or on my Patreon channel under the shop tab. So as you guys can tell by the title of this video, this is going to be about what comes to mind when people mention your name. So pile number 1, you're going to be the citrine crystal. Pile number 2, you're going to be the moonstone crystal. And pile number 3, the rose quartz crystal. So again, pile number 1, citrine crystal. Pile number 2, moonstone crystal. And pile number 3, rose quartz crystal. So pause this video if you must and meditate on the card or the crystal that you feel most drawn to. You'll be able to find your timestamps in the description box below, and I'll see you guys at your pile. Hi Pawan! Welcome to my channel. This is Beauty Tarot by Kachu again with another video. So my pile number 1, you picked the citrine crystal, and this is going to be your reading, okay? So my pile number 1, what comes to mind when people mention your name? I don't know why I heard calm, cool, and collected. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. It's like you have this cool demeanor, like, you know, you're laid back. I heard like you don't take yourself too seriously, like not in a sense that like you're a joke or whatever, like something like that, but it's more like, you know, you don't let things get to your head. That's what I'm getting here. Like, you know, you don't let people's opinion of you or what they think of you really affect how you feel about yourself. Like you're secure within yourself, okay? So we have the 8 of Cups. Yeah, emotionally detached. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. Like you're an emotionally detached individual. Like you don't let people like get the best of you or do things that are going to make you act out of character. Okay, you're very composed, laid back energy. It could be a Sagittarius, a Libra. I don't know why I heard Taurus. You could be a Taurus as well. What comes to mind when people mention your name? We have the 7 of Cups. What comes to mind when people mention your name at pile number 1 is that you're someone who has options, okay? You have choices to choose from. So you never sweat the small stuff. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. You don't sweat the small stuff. You have options. You don't mind exploring your options. You may have a lot of suitors, okay? Like there's somebody that's mad at you for having a lot of suitors because they want you to make them your only option, or they're trying to narrow down your option, but they cannot. What comes to mind when people mention your name? We have the World card. What comes to mind is that you are someone who's accomplished, someone who has a lot of experience, someone who could be well versed. I don't know why I heard numerology. You could be a tarot reader as well, or you're into like numerology, metaphysical like topics or subjects, like you're more into that. Well, I'm getting like you're well versed, okay? Like you are a well-rounded individual. You have a lot of competence, a lot of accomplishments, a lot of certification. Some of you, you have like your MBA. Some of you could also have like a master's degree. Like I'm getting like higher education. That's why I was getting like Sagittarius energy, because Sagittarius is like higher education. So yeah, like I'm getting that vibe from you. So what comes to mind when people mention your name? We have the Two of Swords. I'm getting like nonchalant, unbothered. Okay. I'm telling you, someone's in their feelings, my Palo one. Someone's upset with you because you don't, you're not paying them any mind. Oh, this person's livid. What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind when people mention your name? Just one card, please, Spirit. What comes to mind? Just one card. Ooh, we have the Ace of Pentacles. I'm getting like competence, valuable. Yeah, like high value energy with the Ace of Pentacles. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. High, like quality, excellence, luxury. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. I don't know if you offer services, but like your services are top tier, okay? Or the product that you sell is top tier. It's extremely valuable, but this is what comes to mind when people mention your name. It's like you are the person that people refer to when they want to get something done, and they want to get it done with, like, I don't feel like your your prices are low, your quality is extremely high, and it's like you're worth the money. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name, because once they refer you, like when people say like, yeah, go to pile number one, it's like they say, yes, you are pricey, but you are worth it. Like your price matches the value that you offer. What comes to mind when people mention your name? We have the Page of Cups. Okay, like with the Page of Cups, what comes to mind when people mention your name is that you're someone easy to work with. There's a favorable energy around you with the Page of Cups. Yeah, like it's easy to work with you, it's enjoyable, like you're someone enjoyable to work with, to collaborate with, to engage with. What comes to mind when people mention your name? We have Judgment. You are someone who's extremely discerning. It's kind of hard to pull the wool over your eyes, my pal number one, when it comes to you. Like people know that like you're not the person to play with. Okay, go play with someone else. I was gonna say something else, but I'm not gonna say it because it's YouTube, you know? What comes to mind when people mention your name? Just one card, please, Spirit. What comes to mind? Ooh, Four of Swords, laid back, unbothered. Yeah, like with the Two of Swords, like I'm telling you, there's someone that keeps coming in your energy that like they always have your name in their mouth. Like this person's constantly talking about you because you may have established some sort of boundary with this person and they're not really liking that. You're making them feel some type of way about the boundary. This is somebody who likes to cross people's boundaries. But what comes to mind when people mention your name, specifically that person, they're saying that you're unbothered, you're laid back, you're disinterested, or you're someone who does not really engage in shenanigans. This person wants you to react to something that they're doing or saying about you. What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind? Five of Cups. Ooh, there's like an energy of sadness or sorrow. Someone could be disappointed because you're not like really engaging with them. But what comes to mind when people mention your name is that you are someone who has underwent a lot of sadness or disappointment in life, but you are someone who keeps your head up. You don't give up. You're still optimistic. You still pursue your dreams, even if like life does not turn out the way that you expected it to turn out, or certain things do not play out the way that you expect them to play out. You still keep an optimistic mindset. Okay, what comes to mind when people mention your name? Ooh, your competition. Somebody sees you as competition, or when your name is being brought up in conversation, it's like they're saying that you're competition. You are definitely their blueprint. I can't even speak. What comes to mind when people mention your name is that you are the blueprint with the Five of Wands. You are that person. You are that girl. You are that guy that people are um, aspiring to be. Like, okay, like they see you as that girl, that guy with the Five of Wands. They also, what comes to mind when people mention your name is that you are a challenge that they need to overcome. Okay, so what comes to mind? We have the King of Wands, your confidence, you have amazing leadership qualities, you take initiative, okay? Yeah, you have leadership, amazing leadership qualities. But what comes to mind when certain people say when certain people mention your name is that You are someone who takes to leadership. You are someone who could be larger than life. Like you have a very strong presence, a magnetic presence. Somebody could be saying that you are a show off because like you're taking a lot of space and they may not really like that. You're shining too brightly. Okay, so what comes to mind? Yeah, 10 of Wands. I'm telling you, they see you as a challenge. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name, like you're a challenge, like you're hard to keep up with the 10 of Wands. You have, like, you set the bar really high. What comes to mind when people mention your name? We have the Knight of Wands. Ooh, that you are adventurous, you're flirtatious. Ooh, somebody does not like you around their man or their girl, okay? It's giving Mr. Still your girl, still your man. But it's not like you're that person, but that's what they're saying. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. It's like maybe I feel like because you're very polite and you could be enthusiastic, like and you're very charming, so it may come off as like you're flirting with people's man or girl, like, but like when you're having a conversation, you're really engaged, you might be animated with the Knight of Wands, so it may come off as like people take to you, you're very charismatic, so some people may feel like you're flirting, but you're just not, like, just passionate about the topic that you're engaging. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Just one card, please, Spirit. Ooh, we have the Queen of Wands. You take the, like, you are a showstopper. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. We have the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands. You're a showstopper. That's what comes to mind when they mention your name. It's like you are the star of the show. You take up all the space. You get all of the attention. It's like all eyes on you, and someone is not liking that. What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind? Ooh, 8 of Cups again. Like emotionally detached, unbothered. You know how to disengage. What comes to mind when people mention your name? What do we have here? Ooh, King of Pentacles. Oh, wow. So what comes to mind when people mention your name is that you are dependable, you're reliable, you are self-made with the King of Pentacles. That's what people say. You're somebody who is well structured, you're financially stable, you have your ish together. You're someone who is, I'm also getting like generous. You have a very generous spirit. You're resourceful. What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind? You're extremely competent too. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Just one card, please. 5 of Pentacles. Ooh, somebody feels left out in the cold. Somebody feels like they feel like when your name is brought up in conversation, they could be saying that you may have left them out in the cold. You feel like maybe you're unsupportive, like you're not supporting them. You left them at a hard time. What comes to mind? People mention your name. Wow, we have the Queen and the King of Pentacles, Queen and the King of Wands. That's giving like pair energy. But what comes to mind when people mention your name is that you are the ideal lover, ideal partner. Someone is definitely looking at you as a potential suitor. Like that's how I was gonna, like, the 7 of Cups. You have a lot of like people that want to date you. They see you as the ideal lover. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. It's like you could also be discussed as the one that got away. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Wow, you see, 4 of Wands, stability. Okay, like what? What comes to mind when people mention your name is that you bring a lot of stability everywhere you go. Like there is a lot of like positive energy. You radiate positivity, you radiate enthusiasm, you radiate also like inspiration with the 4 of Wands. Like there's like this soulmate twin flame energy around you. Because we have 2 pairs here, I'm getting like you have people, when your name is being brought up in conversation, when people mention your name, it's like there is like a little bit of like disappointment because you are the person that they wish they would have married. Somebody is in regret, like maybe somebody married someone else or they picked someone else over you in the past, and like now, like 10 years later, I feel like it's been 10 years or 5 years, but it's been like at least more than a year, right, that you've last spoke to this person, you've last seen this person. When your name is being brought up, when people bring up your name, it's like this person speaks highly of you. They put you on a pedestal. You're being discussed as someone who was worth keeping, worth investing in, but this person didn't see your value then. They're seeing your value now, but it's like too late because you're like, oh, bye bye. What comes to mind when people mention your name? There's an element of regret. Yeah, Seven of Wands. You have strong boundaries. Okay, that's what comes to mind when people mention your name. Like you're a fierce protector as well. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Just one card, please, Spirit. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Just one card. Just one, please. Ooh, the Empress. You are extremely beautiful, abundant, luxurious, sensual, exotic. That's what comes to mind when people met you. I'm telling you, somebody's drooling when they talk about you. When your name is being brought up, like this person, they talk about you like people could tell this person wants you. This is somebody who's never been with you, like whether it's like in a relationship or whatever it is. This person is talking about you like, yo, if you give this person a chance, I don't know. I feel like this person just wants to have a chance to say that they had you. But the way that they speak of you with the Empress, this person is like literally wow. The way that they speak, I just want to keep it PG-13 on YouTube because the way this person speaks of you, it's like, holy my guy, like, do you want to eat this person or something? Like, what? You know, when you're like, this person is going in, like, they talk about your body, your hair, your beauty, your skin. Like, this person is like mesmerized by you. Okay, what comes to mind when people mention your name? Ooh, that you are emotionally safe. You're a safe space for a lot of people, but I feel like you were the safe space for most people, but they were not a safe space for you. You didn't feel secure with these people. Like you were always there as a cushion, as like I don't know why I'm getting like convenient friend. Maybe you were the convenient friend back then, but now they're seeing your value now that you're no longer there and you're no longer there at their disposal and their convenience. They're seeing the worth that the value that you brought to the table. What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind when people mention your name? We have the Four of Wands, a lot like stability again, joyful, celebratory energy. Like it's always a good time, positive vibes with you. I feel like people were maybe may have manifested off of you with the Empress energy. What comes to mind? Ooh, justice. So we have Libra twice here. What comes to mind when people mention your name is that you have high integrity, high value, okay, high morals. Like you could have like destroyed somebody with the truth, but you kept your mouth shut with justice. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Yeah, like Page of Cups is here twice. There is a sense of vulnerability, truthfulness, honesty, safe space. Like you're definitely a safe space for a lot of people. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. Like you are a very sweet, loving, genuine individual, but people took you for granted, and those same people are now regretting that they let you slip away with the Eight of Cups. Okay? So that's all I have for you, my pal number one. I hope this reading resonated. If it did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I hope to see you in my next video, pal number one. Bye. Hi, pal two. Welcome to my channel. This is Celebrity Tarot by Kachu again with another video. So, my pal number two, you picked the Moonstone Crystal. And this is going to be your reading, okay? So, my pal number two, what comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind when people mention your name, my pal number two? What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind when people mention your name? Ooh, wish fulfillment. Desirable, my pal number two. You're on somebody's Christmas list. Ooh. My pal number two, what have you done to these people? Oh my gosh. You are highly desirable here. You're in demand. Like, I don't know. Woo. People are looking at you like, damn, man, did you see problem number two? They glue up. That's how people are talking about you. Like, there's definitely an upgrade here. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Ooh, 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 Knight of Cups. You have people eating at the palm of your hands. The finesse, smooth operator. You have somebody drooling over here. Like, pile number two, when I tell you this person is like, mesmerized by you, enamored, okay? But they're saying when your name is come up in conversation, it's like, ooh, you're like butter, smooth, ooh, wait. Pile number two, I don't know what you did. What comes to mind? We have the Page of Pentacles. You're hard to get. You know what I'm getting? That Aaliyah song, If Your Girl Only Knew. You know the part where she says she's crazy to put up with you. Oh boy, I won't be no fool. Yeah, like it ain't easy to get with me. Yeah, like that's what I'm getting here with the Page of Pentacles. You're not easy to get with. That's what comes to mind. People mention your name. It's like you keep people at arm's length. People have to work for you. They have to put in effort. You don't easily open up. You're very cautious. That's what comes to mind. People mention your name. You're extremely cautious. Like you know your worth. You know your value. It's like maybe you didn't know it then, back then, because maybe you had low self-esteem. People made you feel like ish. You may have come from a unhealthy family. The way that people like made you feel. Now you know your worth. Now you know your value. There's definitely a glow up here. Ooh, the lovers. I'm telling you, somebody wants to spin the block as well, because we are in Mercury retrograde as I'm filming this, but it doesn't matter when you watch this video. There's somebody in your orbit right now that wants you, okay? What comes to mind when people mention your name is you are the ideal lover, you are the ideal partner, you are in alignment with somebody. Nine of Cups, you are highly desirable. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Ooh, Ace of Cups. You're genuine. You have a high levels of self-esteem now. Like I feel like before there could have been like a period of your life where you felt down and out. Like I feel like you may have had low self-esteem because of what had happened to you, the things that was done to you by family members, by exes, but you worked on yourself, you build yourself up. Like now you're no longer tolerating certain things. Now like you've worked on yourself, maybe you lost a lot of weight or something like that. There's something about your image that has changed and people are talking about it. That's what comes to mind. People mention your name is like now you're pouring into your own cup with the Ace of Cups. What comes to mind? People mention your name. We have the Queen of Cups. Yeah, emotionally sovereign, emotionally safe, beautiful, very caring and loving and nurturing. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. They remember or recall the things that you've done for them, how you came through for them emotionally, where you were so supportive, like you had their back. Somebody is like crying over the fact that they fumbled you and let you go, because now they're seeing like your worth, your value, and they're looking for someone like you, someone with the same characteristics, everything that you brought to the table. This person is now looking for you in other people. They're searching for you in other people. And that's what comes to mind people mentioning your name, because there's other people that remember you for being so loving and nurturing to them. Wow, we have the Star. What comes to mind when people mention your name is that you are so original, you're so authentic, you're unique, okay? You're extremely influential. You bring people hope, okay? Because I feel like I said, there may have been something that you've gone through that you had to overcome, and it took you a long time, and people are amazed by your growth. They're amazed by your level up. So they see you as the Star, okay? What comes to mind when people Six of Swords, emotionally withdrawn, like you walked away, you're unbothered, you're leaving certain things behind, you've left somebody, you've left someone or situation behind, and you're not looking back, and there's no bitterness. Like you left, like it's like bittersweet, like it's like whatever happened was painful, but then you've learned from it and you grew from it, and you're not using it, like you're not holding on to grudges because of what happened. What comes to mind? People mention your name. Yeah, you're emotionally withdrawn. You walked away, you left something behind, you're no longer invested, you're no longer engaging in the situation or with these people, or just the overall energy, you're no longer engaging with it. Like you moved on, like you left that situation behind. You're no longer in pain. I feel like this situation was extremely painful, but you were able to heal from it and become better. What comes to mind? Ooh, Nine of Pentacles, living that life of luxury. With the Nine of Pentacles, what comes to mind when people mention your name is that you are self-made now. Like people are like mesmerized by your glow up, your self-worth, like your level up, everything that you've done, because the Nine of Pentacles is a self-made energy, is self-sufficient energy, is someone who worked throughout their own merit to receive those blessings. Okay, you are blessed beyond measure. There's an energy of luxury. Wow, luxurious energy around you with the Nine of Pentacles. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. Like, wow, you are the eligible bachelor, bachelorette. I'm telling you, people want to date you. Woo. But do you have one specific person that, like, the way that they talk about you? Hoo-wee. What comes to mind when people mention, wow, Five of Cups? I'm telling you, somebody fumbled you and now they are upset with the Five of Cups. Like they fumbled you. There's someone, like, I feel like this is somebody that you were dating before and this person tried to bring you down. It's giving narcissistic energy, this person who's speaking of you, because when they had you, this person was speaking so negatively of you. They were like tarnishing your image, talking mad crap about you. And then now that you're gone, now that you've leveled up, because I feel like when you were with this person, you weren't doing well because of the fact that this person was siphoning your energy. They were draining you and you weren't able to glow up around this person. But the moment that you started detaching, the moment that you started like putting your energy back to yourself, you start leveling up. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Ooh, Ten of Swords. Abrupt ending, painful ending, harmful ending with the Ten of Swords. Yeah, you've ended things abruptly. Some people may feel betrayed by the ending, by the separation. Ooh, Ace of Swords. This is the truth. What comes to mind when people mention your name is like the truth that you speak, the clarity that you bring to the table. Okay, you're honest in your communication, you're truthful. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. It's like what you see is what you get with you. People don't have to guess. What comes to mind? Ooh, we have the High Priestess. Mysterious, okay? Inner knowing. Some people may feel threatened by your spiritual gifts, like they could sense that you know something or you know more than you let on. With the High Priestess, you move in silence, you have a lot of discernment. You could be a Cancer here, and if you are a Cancer and it's your birthday today, happy birthday. Okay, what comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes? Ooh, we have the Tower. Unpredictable. There is like this shocking energy. You shocked people, you impressed. I'm gonna like impressive energy. There is like some sort of like expectation, or there's something about these people. They may have thought that you were a certain way, but you exceed someone or certain people's expectations of you with the Tower, and they are like kind of like unable to reconcile the difference between what they thought you were and who you actually are. What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind when people mention your name? Just one card. Four of Wands. Stability, abundance, powerful energy. Okay? Yeah, celebratory energy. You might be receiving a promotion or something like that very soon. You're going to be promoted. If you applied for a job, you're going to get it, especially if it's like within your current organization and you're just trying to apply to a different department. You're going to get it. But there's a lot of stability and abundance. Okay, what comes to mind? People mention it. We have judgment, discernment. I feel like people may have misjudged you or judged you harshly. There could be like a Virgo around you, or a Virgo that was around you that was judging you harshly. But this person was projecting, okay? They were projecting their flaws, their negative energy, their insecurities onto you. And in the moment that you separated yourself from this person, you started leveling up. So what comes to mind? Ooh, we have the King of Swords. I can't even speak. King of Swords, okay? Discernment with the King of Swords. methodical, mentally sharp, mentally agile. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. Like you're too smart for, I heard you're too smart for your own good. So that's somebody who was trying to play games on you, trying to run game on you, and then they couldn't do that with the King of Swords. Like you're too mentally agile, too observant for this person, and they don't really like that. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. It's you're you're too intelligent for certain people. Like they want you to dumb it down, or they want you to pipe down. Like I'm hearing somebody saying pipe down, like calm down, like because this person may have tried to sneak this, but it didn't land well. Like I feel like you maybe counteracted it. You said something that this person was not expecting you to say. Maybe they thought that you were gonna let it slide, like they're this, but you didn't, and you did so eloquently that this person feels like, they feel some type of way about it. Like what comes to mind when people mention your name? Ooh, we have the Ace of Cups again. Yeah, like you're true, like you're genuine in your approach, the way that you deal with people. It's like if somebody experienced the King of Swords with you, is because they did something to you that caused you to pull your emotions away, because you're someone who's emotionally safe, someone who's emotionally open with the Ace of Cups. You're loving, you're nurturing. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. So whenever somebody talks crap about you with the King of Swords, like people were like, well, this person was always nice to me, they were always genuine to me, so like you must have done something to them for them to treat you with emotional distance. So what comes to mind when people mention your name? Ooh, Six of Wands. There is like with the Six of Wands, it's like public recognition, notoriety. Okay, so you're being respected, you're being put on a pedestal. But some people, when you mention your name, they could be saying that you're a show off because you love to get the attention, or you're getting a lot of attention, and they may not really like that. Because look at that, Nine of Cups. You are wish fulfillment. You are people's desire. You are the blueprint. Okay, you are the standard. Okay, what comes to mind when, we have the Chariot, Cancer energy again, structured and disciplined, strong will and determined. Okay, amazing leadership qualities, because Cancer is a cardinal sign. So you're driven, you're focused. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. It's like you have this drive to you, this determination to you, that you get things going, you get things flowing. What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind? Just one card, please, Spirit. Ooh, we have the King and the Queen of Cups. This is like a pair. You're the one that got away. You're emotionally safe. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. Like there's someone that's remembering you, remembering how you were to them, how sweet you were to them, how loving you were to them, and they messed this up. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Yeah, you are someone who's driven with the Eight of Wands. You're action oriented. You're bold. You take initiative. There's a lot of like forward movement with you. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. Like you are about your business. You're not just talking about it, you are about it. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. What comes to mind when people mention your name? We have the Knight of Pentacles, reliable, trustworthy, dependable, dedicated, meticulous. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. You were on this path, on this journey for a long time, but you didn't give up. You're persevering, okay, with the Knight of Pentacles. What comes to mind when people mention your name? What do we have here? We have the Nine of Swords. This is like anxiety, nervousness. Some people could feel threatened by your glow up. They could feel threatened by your energy. You represent success. You represent the goalpost. And because you represent the goalpost, some people, when your name is being brought up, you make them like uneasy. You make them nervous. You give them anxiety. Like maybe there's something about a secret somebody's afraid that might come out. Every time your name is being brought up, it's like every time somebody brings up your name and this person is in the room, it's like this person wants to avoid accountability, and they want to avoid a conversation altogether. Like when your name is being brought up, like they don't want to answer a specific question. So if somebody asks them about you, like it's like they give a vague answer, like as to why you guys are not together, or why you guys are no longer friends, why you guys are no longer talking to each other. Like they're trying to evade like the conversation altogether with the Nine of Swords. Like your name brings anxiety to this person. I don't know why I'm getting that, but this is what I'm getting with the Nine of Swords. And we have 999. There could have been like an ending of a chapter or something. So that's all I have for you, my pal number 2. I hope this reading resonated. If it did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I hope to see you in my next video, pal number 2. Bye. Hi, pal 3. Welcome to my channel. This is Talbidi Tarot by Kachu again with another video. So, my pal number 3, you picked the Rose course, and this is going to be your reading, okay? So, my pal number 3, what comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind? Oh, we have Death card. Transformative, resilient, mysterious, magnetic. You have fans in denial. You have a lot of haters, my pal number 3. If you're a woman, you have a lot of other women that like follow you, they look up to you, they see you as the goalpost, but they dislike you. Like they dislike that it's you. Like they like what you do, but they don't like that it's you doing it. That's what I'm getting here. What comes to mind? Ooh, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Dedicated, patience, invested. You're hardworking. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. You're doing something. You're investing in something that most people that you know wish they would have invested in, or they wish they had the talent, but they don't. Okay, but they see you as like somebody who's hardworking, somebody who is putting in the necessary effort to see something come to fruition with the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, valuable. What comes to mind when people mention your? We have the King of Swords. So with the King of Swords, what comes to mind when people mention your name is that you are someone who's highly like intelligent, articulate, very knowledgeable. You could be a consultant here. You could be a project manager. You could be a program manager. I'm getting like something to do with AI. Like you're well versed in a lot of topics, subjects. Maybe you're in finance. Maybe you're a financial advisor. You might be a banker. I'm gonna VP energy, senior leadership type of energy with the King of Swords. Okay, but what comes to mind when people mention your name is that you are extremely knowledgeable. You're wise beyond your years. You might be the youngest person within your organization to hold a senior leadership position within the organization. What comes to mind? Yes, we have Temperance. You're wise beyond your years. You are an alchemist here. You're very talented. There's like higher education, higher learning. So some of you may have graduated with honors as well with the King of Swords and the Temperance card. It's giving like extremely like book smart and street smart type of energy with the Temperance card. Some of you are multi-talented here. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. You are exceeding someone's expectation of you. You could be a Sagittarius, Scorpio, Cusper. What comes to mind? Yes, Ace of Swords. Communication. You are in some sort of like position that requires you to speak. Like there's some sort of like, yeah, like just the way that you express yourself. It's giving VP energy, like somebody who's in senior leadership position, senior manager, something like that. And you might be the youngest one in that like group of management team, like this group of leadership. You might be the youngest one. Okay, you may have accomplished a goal or a milestone that may have taken a lot of people longer than you did. Okay, so what comes to mind? Yeah, Three of Pentacles. I feel like you're being discussed in the workplace because this is giving like workplace energy, that your name is being brought up in conversation like a lot. What comes to mind is that you are a great team player. You are collaborative. You bring a lot of value to the organization, to your team. Okay, that's what comes to mind when people mention your name. Like the value that you bring is indispensable with the Three of Pentacles. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Just one card, please, Spirit. What comes to mind? Ooh, I'm telling you, you're being highly spoken of with the Six of Wands, the notoriety, public recognition, high value, successful. This is definitely giving leadership energy. The Six of Wands is leadership energy because it's like notoriety. People are respecting you, people are putting you on the pedestal, but it's not just because you just want to be there, it's because you earned that spot. So that's what comes to mind when people mention your name. What comes to mind? Ooh, King of Wands, guys. I can't make it up. Leadership energy, powerful, resilient, okay? Enthusiastic. Like you're definitely someone that people see as a leader. Like you have the characteristic, not just the title. You know how some people, they have the title, but then it's like you see their work ethics, you're like, oh, weak, how did you even get this job, right? We know a lot of people like that in the workplace. But your talent and your title matches. Like you are right where you need to be when it comes to your career. Like you've earned your stripes. Okay, it was not given to you just because you know somebody that knows somebody that knows someone. No, it wasn't through like connection or favoritism. No, it was through your own merit, your own hard work. You earned this, your stripes here with the King of Swords. What comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind? We have the Ace of Cups. Loving, genuine energy, authentic. Okay, you are a pleasure to work with or a pleasure to be around. Like people speak of you on in favorable terms with the Six of Wands. Okay, what comes to mind when people mention your name? We have the Page of Pentacles. Okay, you are someone who is prudent. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. You're also trustworthy. So people could trust you with sensitive information. They could also trust you to do the right thing, even if no one isn't looking. So you have integrity. You're high value here. Okay. So what comes to mind? Ooh, Six of Pentacles, generosity. You have a big heart. You're extremely generous. There's someone, like there's a generous person that is watching you. Maybe like some of you could be doing some sort of charity work or something like that. You're giving back to the community with the Six of Pentacles, like you're giving back and it's not going unnoticed. Like you're giving back privately. You're not really the type of person that's going to broadcast that, oh yeah, I did some charity work or anything like that. The only people that are going to know that you did charity work is the people that were there while you were doing the charity work, and the people that you were giving to. Only they are going to know. Everybody else is going to be like, unless you tell them, they're never going to know. So there's something about you that like people appreciate, like your character. You have a beautiful personality. So what comes to mind when people mention your name? We have the Hangman. Yeah, like there's something about you that's being like you're prudent, because the Hangman could represent surrendering, but it's also like patience, right? Surrendering, you have to, when you're surrendering, you have to be patient because now it's out of your hands. You have to allow the natural flow of life to flow, right? You can't control every aspect. So this is something that comes to mind when people mention your name. You're not somebody who's too rigid or too forceful. Like you are fluid, you are adaptable. We have two mutable signs here. So we have Pisces and we have Sagittarius. So it's like you're easy flowing, you're not too rigid, you're not too forceful. Like that's why people feel like it's a pleasure to work with you. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Yeah, like you, oh, there's two cards. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Ooh, King and the Queen of Wands. Ooh, you're the ideal lover, ideal partner. Your feminine and masculine energy are in alignment. You are confident. You're bold. You're like your influence has a long reach. Okay, you are somebody that people look up to. People want to emulate you. Like when you wherever you work. So in your workplace, like even if you don't have a leadership title, because I feel like a lot of you do, but if you don't, you exude leadership energy. Like I would be surprised if you're not up for a promotion because you have leadership quality, leadership energy written all over you. Okay. So what comes to mind when people mention, ooh, we have the Empress, beautiful. You exude femininity. Whether you are a woman or a man, you're aesthetically pleasing. If you are a man, ooh, you dress in those crisp suit, tailored suit, like, ooh, let me stop. And if you are a woman, you dress like impeccably here, beautiful dresses, like your hair is always done, you smell so good, like your makeup is on fleek. Like, what? And we haven't said that word in a long time, on fleek. Oh my god, what comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind when people, ooh, okay, there's disappointment, heartbreak. Somebody fumbled you. Somebody's heartbroken. Well, that's not your problem. That's their problem. They should have thought about it. But there is an energy of sadness and sorrow when your name is being brought up in conversation. Oh, I think the Five of Cups came out for all three piles. It's like every time, like this is like the collective, you know, for like this energy of like always feeling like people don't appreciate you until you're gone type of energy. I feel like you've gone through this all of your life. It's like people may have like underestimated you. They didn't see your worth. They didn't see your value. But like, I promise you, when you're gone, they feel it. Okay. That's what comes to mind. People mention your name, like, especially the people that fumbled you. There's like an energy of sadness and sorrow. You see, Four of Cups, missed opportunity. Maybe like past, like, co-workers, bosses. I feel like you may have like a very challenging sixth house placement. Maybe you have Scorpio in the sixth house or something with a death card. Yeah, like, because sixth house is like dealing with, you know, habits, people, like your interaction with other people, like workplace type of energy, like those type of dynamics. That's like the sixth house energy, right? So I feel like, you know, if you have, or if it's not Scorpio, it's like either Mars or like Pluto in your sixth house, where it's like combative energy, you know, like power struggle type of energy. That's what I'm getting here. Maybe like you had like a lot of bosses in the past that were like overbearing, or like um, narcissistic bosses or coworkers. So what comes to mind when people mention your name? What comes to mind when people mention your name? Ooh, Eight of Wands, forward movement, action oriented, go getter energy. Yeah, you're a go getter. You get things done. You're always moving ahead. You never stay stagnant. There's progress. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. Progress, ongoing progress, fast forward progress, accelerated movement. Ooh, dang. Ten of Pentacles. This is valuable energy, legacy building energy, okay? I'm telling you, somebody's seeing your value now that you're gone. They weren't seeing it before, but now they're seeing it. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Page of Cups. Yeah, sensitive, loving, honest, safe. You definitely have this safety. Like, what comes to mind when people mention your name is that you were a safe space for a lot of people. They've seen your vulnerable side and they took advantage of it. Somebody took advantage of your vulnerability and now they're regretting it, because now they're seeing the value in like what you brought to the table. Like, this is somebody who was predatory. Like, I don't even feel bad for this person, to be honest. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Just one card, please, Spirit. What comes to mind? We have Temperance, Sagittarius energy, and that's the second time we have Sagittarius. Okay, yeah, like you have this lucky, happy-go-lucky side to you. You're optimistic. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name. You were somebody's lucky star. Like, you were this person's lucky star and they took you for granted. They thought that you were going to be around, that they could abuse you or do whatever they want to you, but they, like, you know, they're seeing that you're moving forward in life. Yeah, Four of Cups, missed opportunity. That's what comes to mind when people mention your name or that specific person. But you may have a lot of people that fumbled you, not just in love, but like friendship and business, because now they're seeing the value that you brought to the table, how you could have helped their organization or their team succeed. And Like I feel like once you left the organization, something crumbled, something fumbled, like something got crumbled to the ground, and they're trying to like reverse engineer it to find out like what was the root cause of the demise of the organization or the specific project, and they're realizing that you were the anchor the whole time. That's why there's like this missed opportunity energy around you. So what comes to mind when people mention your name? Just one card, please, Spirit. Four of Pentacles, grounded. You're definitely protected because we have 444. What comes to mind when people mention your name is that you are very protective, okay, of your energy, your time, your resources now. You're not as available as you were before. We have the Hierophant. You could be a Taurus here. Yeah, grounded. You're reliable. You're trustworthy. You are the wise counsel. Like somebody's just like, I just feel like this person is finally coming to terms that they fumbled a great thing, and now they're trying to spin the block, but they know that it's too late for them to do this now. But like, you are someone who is with the Hierophant. You are the person that sets the tone, sets the rules. You do things in a way that is methodical as well, okay? Very precise in everything that you do. High value. Okay, what comes to mind when people mention your name? Just one card, please, Spirit. What comes to mind? Just one card. What comes to mind? Just one. Just one card, please. What comes to mind? We have the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, reliable, trustworthy, meticulous. And that's Taurus energy again. Knight of Pentacles. Slow and steady. Slow and steady, because that's Taurus's motto. Slow and steady wins the race. So that's the what comes to mind when people mention your name, like dedication, invested. Seven of Pentacles. You are extremely invested. You are methodical. Okay. What comes to mind when people mention your name? Two of Swords. You're unbothered. You're not easily swayed or manipulated. Once you make up your mind about something, you stick to it. That's why you're so reliable. And somebody like fumbled you. Multiple people fumbled you. Okay. So that's all I have for you, my pal number 3. I hope this reading resonated. If it did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I hope to see you in my next video, pal number 3. Bye.